Hello and welcome to Standard Voice Television Global News today, 30th June 2026, equivalent to Islamic calendar 15 Muharram 1448 after Hijrah. I am Hamida Muhammad Idris, and headlines. The government directs oil marketers to reduce petrol price. Federal Executive Council approves comprehensive reform of NYSC programs and operations. Troops of Operation Hatankai rescued 10 NECO candidates and teachers in Borno State. On the international scene, Uganda's military chief orders closure of 2 media outlets. And on sports update, Brazil beat Japan 2-1 to reach round of 16 in ongoing 2026 World Cup. These are more news to be coming to you in the bulletin. Thank you for joining on the news in details. The federal government has ordered the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority (NMDPRA) to ensure petroleum marketers do not exploit Nigerians through excessive pricing under the regulated downstream petroleum markets. Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Heineken Lokpo-Biri, gave the directive in Abuja while delivering the keynote address at the NMDPRA General Council and Legal Advisors Forum. He said although the downstream sector had been fully deregulated, the regulator must ensure that the regulation does not become an avenue of profiteering at the expense of consumers. According to Lokpo-Biri, following the escalation of tensions in the Middle East and decline in global crude prices, Nigerians expected corresponding reductions in the pump price of petrol. Earlier, Chief Executive of NMDPRA Malam Ribat Umar said the petroleum industry has reached a stage where regulatory certainty, transparency, and investor confidence has become more important than more compliance with regulations. The federal government has concluded the long-awaited renegotiation of the 2009 agreement with the Senior Staff Association of Nigerian Universities, SANU, the Non-Academic Staff Union of Educational and Associated Institutions, NASU, and the National Association of Academic Technologists, NATS, ending months of negotiations over the conditions of service for non-teaching university workers. The agreement was reached after a meeting between the federal government expanded renegotiation committee and the leadership of the 3 unions at the headquarters of the National Universities Commission and UC in Abuja. The national president of SANU and chairman of the Joint Action Committee, Jack Muhammad Haruna Ibrahim, while confirming the development, said that the negotiation had been concluded and an agreement reached. The federal government had earlier concluded a separate negotiation with ASU, approving a 40% salary increase for academic staff. The outcome of Monday's meeting effectively concludes the negotiation process for 3 non-teaching university unions. The Federal Executive Council (FEC) has approved the first comprehensive reform of the National Youth Service Corps (NYSC) since the scheme was established 53 years ago. The reforms include the digitalization of the scheme's operations, enhanced security and welfare measures for corps members, and improved attention to their special needs. The FEC meeting, presided over by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu at the State House Abuja, also approved the upgrade of orientation camps nationwide, with state government expected to provide facilities that meet clearly defined national standards. Minister of Youth Development Ayodele Olaonde said the reform followed an extensive review of the NYSC established in 1973 to promote national unity after the Nigerian Civil War. He noted that the reviews was undertaken jointly by the Ministry of Youth Development, the Ministry of Education, and the Office of the Special Advisor to the President on Policy and Coordination. The Nigerian Democratic Congress (NDC) has confirmed that the party has uploaded the name of its presidential candidate Peter Obi to the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) nomination portal. The party disclosed this in a statement saying the NDC has filed an appeal against a recent court ruling alongside an application for a stay of execution, which had been served on the INEC chairman and the commission. According to the statement, the party has also been granted access to the INEC portal to upload the names of its candidates in line with the electoral timetable. The NDC maintained that it remains a duly registered political party that has participated in all political processes so far, insisting that its primary elections had been conducted under the observation and monitoring of INEC. It stated that the emergence of candidates for various elective offices had been completed and that what remained was the administrative process of submitting their names to the Electoral Commission. Atiku Abubakar has alleged a plot by some elements within the ruling All Progressives Congress (APC) to prevent the African Democratic Congress (NDC) from participating in the 2027 general election. The presidential candidate of the ADC warned that any attempt to exclude the opposition party from the contest would amount to a grave assault on Nigeria's democracy. Atiku raised the alarming statement issued by his senior special assistant on public communication, Frank Shaibu, claiming he had received credible information suggesting that political and legal maneuvers were being coordinated to keep the party off the ballots. According to him, the alleged move formed part of a wider campaign to weaken the opposition and deny Nigerians the opportunity to freely choose their next president. The former vice president, however, called on Nigerians, irrespective of political affiliation, to resist what he described as effort by the ruling All Progressives Congress (APC) to determine which opposition parties should be allowed to contest the election. A federal high court sitting in Kaduna has denied a bail application filed by the former Kaduna State Governor Nasir Ahmed El-Rufai, holding that the application lacked merit. The presiding judge, Justice Darius Kirby, ruled that the El-Rufai failed to place sufficient material before the court to warrant the exercise of the discretion in his favor. He is standing trial on a 9-count charge bordering on alleged abuse of office and related offences instituted against the former governor by the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission (ICPC). The court proceedings were conducted in the absence of the defendant, who was not physically present when the ruling on his bail application was delivered. In his ruling, Justice Kirby held that the applicant failed to present reliable evidence and convincing documents to justify the grant of bail. Justice Kirby also ordered that El-Rufai should remain in custody of the anti-graft agency and adjourn the case till July 7 and 8 to continue the hearing. The news is coming to you on Standard Voice Television, still to come in the news. Troops of Operation Harinkai rescued 10 NACO candidates and teachers in Borno. On the international scene, Uganda's military chief orders closure of 2 media outlets. And on sport update, Brazil beat Japan 2-1 to reach round of 16 in ongoing 2026 World Cup. These are more news to be coming to you after the short break. Do stand by.
Imagine say television, movies, news and entertainment dey your pocket, just like that. Welcome to Free TV app. Now the #1 digital TV app for Nigeria. Free TV app get over 100 live TV channels, breaking news, sports, Nollywood movies, small pikin shows and plenty more inside one app. No decoder wahala, no plenty setup. Just download, open, begin the watch. To get the app, just search Free TV for Google Play Store or Free TV NG for Apple App Store, or scan the QR code for your screen. Registration will take you seconds. You fit use phone number, email, WhatsApp, Google or Apple ID. OTP even dey, so make your account stay safe. For inside the app, the live TV section get over 100 licensed channels with program guide, pause, rewind and catch up. Free TV no be ordinary app. Na digital revolution. Download Free TV today.
Welcome back from that short break, and now the news continues. Troops of Operation Hatton have rescued 10 kidnapped National Examination Council NECO candidates and teachers following an attack on Lassa Government Day Secondary School in Askira Uba local government area of Borno State. The victims, comprising students sitting for NECO examinations and their teachers, were abducted when suspected ISWAP terrorists stormed the school around 9 a.m. shooting sporadically and disrupting the examination session. The acting military information officer of the Joint Task Force Northeast Operation Hatton, Captain Muhammad Ghani, while confirming the incident, said the troops responded immediately after receiving reports of the attack, launching a coordinated on-ground search and rescue operation. According to him, the theater command deployed strike aircraft and intelligence, surveillance, and platforms to support ground troops who mobilized to the area. During the encounter, troops reportedly outmaneuvered the terrorists, inflicting casualties and recovering 7 motorcycles used by the attackers in the attempted escape. The General Overseer of the Redeemed Christian Church of God, Pastor Enoch Adebayo, and the presiding Bishop of Winners Chapel, David Oyedepo, have advocated for stronger United States support in tackling terrorism in Nigeria, warning that the country is nearing a breaking point due to persistent insecurity. They stated these at the 2026 Fed Defender Award Gala at the Hilton Garden on Capitol Hill, Washington, D.C. on June 23rd, according to a press release signed by the president of Save Nigeria Group USA, Stephen Osemugwe. Adebayo urged the United States and its allies to intensify support for Nigeria in its fight against insecurity, and he made a direct appeal for more international support. In a keynote address delivered on his behalf, Oyedepo painted a grim picture of the situation in Nigeria, describing the country as being virtually at the brink of collapse due to unrelenting terrorist attacks and violence. Meanwhile, former U.S. Ambassador at large for international religious freedom, Sam Brownback, warned that Nigeria risks violent civil unrest if urgent steps were not taken. Also called for increased U.S. involvement in protecting religious freedom and supporting victims of extremist violence. The Nigerian Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs, NSCIA, has warned the federal government and security agencies to act before Muslims run out of patience, saying the community's continued restraint amid persistent attacks, profiling, and marginalization should not be mistaken for weakness. The Council's Public Affairs Officer, Abbas Jimo, issued the warning in a statement on behalf of the Council, led by its President General and Sultan of Sokoto, Muhammad Saad Abubakar. The council said Muslims had deliberately responded with restraint despite what it described as repeated provocation, while calling for swift justice over recent killings in Kaduna and Benue State and investigations into alleged police misconduct. The NSCIA also called on government to ensure that those responsible for what it described as heinous crimes in Kaduna and Benue State were brought to justice without delay. It urged the authorities to rein in with what it described as persistent attacks on Islam and Muslims in public spaces, saying that was essential to preserving peace and national cohesion. Moving to the foreign scene, the chief military of Uganda, Muhoozi Kainerugaba, has directed the closure of 2 leading media outlets after declaring that he did not believe in a free press. Kainerugaba, who is also the president's son, said that the Daily Monitor, Uganda's largest independent daily newspaper, and NTV Uganda, one of the country's largest private broadcasters, will not reopen without permission. He did not give specific reasons for closing the media outlets, which are bought on by National Media Group, NMG, NR, a media conglomerate headquartered in Kenya and listed on the Nairobi Stock exchange. The Daily Monitor reported on Sunday that military personnel had been deployed at NMD's premises in the capital, Kampala, and that staff were being prevented from leaving or entering the premises. According to Reuters, Ugandan government spokesperson Alan Kasuja did not immediately respond to Reuters' request for comments. Finally, to sport on scene, Brazil has advanced to the last 16 of the World Cup on Monday with a thrilling last gasp 2-1 won over Japan as the tournament's knockout rounds got into full swing. Arsenal striker Gabriel Martinelli was the hero for Brazil in Houston, scoring in the 5th minute of stoppage time to settle an enthralling contest. Japan had threatened to pull off one of the all-time great World Cup upset after Keishu Sano fired them into the lead with a super 29th-minute goal on the counter-attack. Brazil looked stunned by the Japanese opener for the remainder of the half, and the Asian giants comfortably protected their lead up to half-time. But Brazil coach Carlo Ancelotti rolled the dice at halftime by bringing on an additional striker in Adric for midfielder Lucas Paqueta, and the South Americans immediately looked more threatening. They equalized on 56 minutes, Casemiro nodding in at the far post after a superb calling across from the left by Gabriel Magalhaes. Finally, underneath the top stories again. The government directs oil marketers to reduce petrol price. Federal Executive Council approves comprehensive reform of NYSC programs and operations. Troops of Operation Hatankai rescue 10 NECO candidates and teachers in Borno State. On the international scene, Uganda's military chief orders closure of 2 media outlets. And on sports update, Brazil beat Japan 2-1 to reach round of 16 in ongoing 2026 World Cup. That's Standard Voice Television Global News for today. On behalf of the news editor and production crew led by Elia Adamu Auta, I am Hamida Muhammad Idris. Thank you and bye for now.